But I feel like men can cheat and not have the emotion behind it. I feel like it's more of a feminine.
Like if they don't fear God, they will do that.
If they don't what?
If they don't fear God, they can do that and not have any accountability. But a religious man will not. You won't be able to sleep at night.
So you don't think that a religious man can go out and cheat on his wife?
And he can, it does happen. But if you actually have a relationship with God and if you're actually in tune with it, then have you ever you wouldn't have read this. I was going to say Dostoevsky's Crime and Punishment. It's a book about the human conscience and the fact that it just sort of eats away.
Story about it,
have you?
I fucking love Dostoevsky.
Oh yeah, very nice.
She fucking loves Dostoevsky.
He's the man.
Yeah,
he's the man.
He's the shit. Wait, actually, this kind of brings up a. Oh, sorry. Did you want to continue with your point?
No, I was just saying. I think it's a. So for example, I've come into faith over the last few years, and I was never a choir boy growing up, from my teenage years, early 20s, and I've had my experiences. So back then I would have been a bad bet. But now, as I've come into it a little bit more, and as I've developed a relationship with God, and I've sort of gotten more tuned in and plugged in with other men who are sort of Christians, it's helped me a lot. Not perfect by anyone's imagination, but it's helped.
Jake, your view on this? Okay. When it comes to cheating, and I don't think cheating is good, whether it's a man or a woman doing it. If you cheat, that's wrong no matter what. I do think, though, that there is a tendency, the reasons why men and women cheat are different. Yes. Would you agree with that?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
And I think it could be said that when a woman cheats, like that's the end of the relationship. In terms of how she views her partner. But if a man cheats, now, again, if that's a deal breaker for the woman, absolutely. But I think a man cheating doesn't necessarily indicate that, like, if a woman cheats on you, she's not in love with you. It's over. It's done. She doesn't but I think
she doesn't respect you anymore.
She doesn't respect you anymore. It's gone. It's done.
Yeah.
Whereas I do think, and again, I'm not saying cheating is good. I'm not in favor of cheating, but the differences are different. And I do think men will cheat purely on a physical urge level without any emotion being involved. Whereas if a woman cheats, I think there's it's way fucking heavier.
It is.
Way heavier.
That just makes it sound like men are terrible though. It makes it sound like men don't have a way to have an emotional connection with the person that they're with. That you would say that if a woman cheats, oh man, she's she doesn't respect me at all. But if a man cheats, I'm not going to have that same reaction. Of course,
it's true though. If a woman cheats, there's no respect.
I think your reaction is totally understandable if a man cheats on you, and if that's your value set particularly. However, the act of having sex for a man and a woman is just two different things. The act of a woman opening herself up and letting a man inside, it's a very, very submissive act as well. And the thought for a man of your girl being submissive in that way to another man is just, it's horrifying. Well, I can understand it would be the same for you.
I think it comes back to how does the man value sex? Because if you're saying that a woman is oh, this is the big important thing and that's why it's worse when she cheats on somebody. Why doesn't the man think of it the same way? If a man thought of sex the same way that you're claiming women do, that we see it this high value, if she cheats on me, then it's the end of the world. Why can't men value sex the same way? That it's giving of yourself.
Yeah, I mean, ideally we would.
Because then you would see your partner as you're the only person I will ever do this with. I can't even imagine doing it with somebody else.
If the world was perfect, that would be the way it is.
I know, I'm just saying that to make it so.
Do you think
casual,
that men and women having sex is the same?
Men are terrible people.
Do you think that women and men having sex are the same? Do you think it's biologically the same?
No, and I think that's why to the point you were making before, how you're okay with a man cheating on you. I think if anything, if we actually agree that men having sex is different than women, then it shows loyalty and commitment and dedication even more. And you can fall more in love with somebody knowing that they're not doing the thing that you claim biologically they're meant to do. You
would rather him not have sex with anyone else, yeah?
I mean, of course, that's what I would wish for, but I don't necessarily want to make that decision for him.
Because it shows willpower that a man maybe you think this isn't always true, but let's pretend this man is sex driven. That's all he's thinking about. If he can stop himself from doing that, for the sake of a relationship, for the sake of your soul, for the sake of his own soul, that's so much more powerful.
My soul, though.
It's so much more powerful than just going and doing it, and then saying that he's better, a high value man because he has experience. It doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't add up.
I think just because sex between men and women are different doesn't mean that it makes it more or less okay for one of them to cheat on the other.
That's not what we're arguing, though. We're just having a conversation of the reasons why men and women cheat can be different.
I think for men it's validation.
I already prefaced it by saying cheating is not acceptable. It's wrong. And as a woman, if you want to break up with your guy for cheating, totally acceptable. Vice versa, totally fine. But I think we can all agree, like, there are certainly differences between men and women, and the reasons why a man might cheat may very well differ for the reasons why a woman might cheat. For example, a man might be more motivated by simply satisfying certain physical or sexual urges, where a woman may be, and this could even be the reverse, but a woman may be more inclined to cheat because, bro, it's the end of the relationship, and there's some emotional connection with another person. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying the reasons why which could vary quite differently.
But
which is why, like, for example, I think it may be the case that it's more likely that a man could, and again, I think it's wrong, but a man could cheat on his girlfriend or wife and still absolutely be in love with her. Whereas I think the reverse, I don't think it really plays out that way. Again, I'm not saying cheating is good. I'm just saying the motivations there are different.
But unfaithfulness is like the definition of not loving somebody, though.
Mm-hmm. It's you're treating love like some kind of like mystical feeling.
But it's emotionally faithful.
Love is a choice.
Not
love
physically
is a decision
faithful.
And it's an action. So by literally going the exact opposite of not loving that person, you can't say that you still love your wife if you go against her like
but
that.
It's emotionless with a man. It's emotional with a woman.
That's not true.
But
it's just scientifically not accurate to say that men don't have emotions. It makes it sound like they're just like these animals.
No, they have.
Something on this by David Buss.
Yeah, let's look at it. I mean, there's also certain biological. Men are more likely to cheat for sexual variety, while women tend to have an affair in a means to find a better suited partner or stronger connection. Thank you. Evidence suggests that women tend to cheat with one person, becoming emotionally involved in the process and often looking to fall in love. David Buss, is he an evolutionary psychologist, or what's his, Eva? Evolutionary psychologist, that's right. Okay, cool. Didn't he go to UCSB, or was a professor at UCSB? Or am I thinking of Huberman? Anyways,
it kind of seems like we all agree on this then.
Yeah.
Like we all agree it's wrong. Yeah, they might do it for
I think we do agree, but I think where we would disagree is when you say that a man can't love a woman if he cheats on her. And like, this is me steel manning an argument that I don't agree with. It's a way that I wouldn't act. I've never cheated on somebody, never will. But I think that there would be occasions when a man could cheat on a woman and still love that woman. So I don't think that disqualifies it.
What is love?
What is your definition of love?
What is this like? I mean, I'm not going to give a definition of love, but I'm just going to say...
Well, you have to give a definition of love if you say that cheating on someone can still be loving.
It's just an emotion. Love is love. It's just like, how you feel.
It's not an emotion, though.
Love is not an emotion at all. You can't feel love.
Love is an action, and then you feel it after you create that action.
So it can be, it is.
Infatuation is like an emotion, a feeling. Lust is a feeling, but love is just an action.
Love
like there's no, like people say like, oh, we just fell out of love, so we got divorced, and like that is a problem for many divorces because they were going to the marriage thinking love is a feeling, so if we're not in love anymore, just get divorced. And that's kind of the same thing you're saying, like, oh, I still love them, but I cheated. But that's not loving.
Yeah, but what if it's an accident? What if you deeply, deeply regret it? Like you can't live with yourself because you regret it so badly.
You shouldn't have done it in the first place. Love is willing the good of the other.
People make mistakes, though. I think like coming from such a worldview of everything has to be so perfect. If you make a mistake and you deeply, deeply regret it, you can still love. You can still love that person.
You can absolutely regret it,
and you can mourn for their loss.
And you can be forgiven of it. That doesn't necessarily mean that you can believe the person still loves you.
Okay, so you don't think that it's possible for a man to still love a woman if he's cheated on her? You don't think that's possible? I wouldn't
believe that they would love you anymore.
Not
Absolutely
possible.
Not. Love is willing the good of the other. Cheating on me is not willing the good of me at all.
But I mean,
certainly you can be forgiven, but that doesn't mean I believe you love me.
Okay, so listen.
For sure.
So the path back is there. If you're a man and you cheat on a woman, you can still technically love her at a later time.
No, you can't. You didn't will the good of that person at all.
At that time.
So you think that you can just erase like things that happen?
Do you think that any mistake that happens whatsoever, when you're not willing the good of that person, all of a sudden you don't love them anymore?
I like broke your favorite thing. Like what? That's different.
So like, what's the difference between that and say you slap your partner in the face?
Chemical bonding with being with somebody else is a lot worse than
okay. So if I was to,
but if you're talking about abuse, then
if you're a man who slaps his wife in the face, heat of the moment, you love this person, and it's just the next day you're so sorry, you apologize. She says, "I know, I was acting a bit."
That's called abuse, and if you tolerate that, it's going to get worse and worse, and that's
what cheating is.
Violence.
No, wait. I'm not saying that there's anything right about abuse, but I'm saying in a hypothetical scenario, if that were to happen, like you see, like what happened with Dana White and his wife, like a few months ago.
Yeah, if the man that I'm with slaps me in the face, I'm leaving, and I don't believe he loves me anymore. Because if I
what about if you slapped him first?
I wouldn't. That's
what about if you did?
Violence.
The hypothetical.
That's domestic violence.
Okay, but what about if that happened? I don't support it either, but it's a hypothetical.
If I slapped the person I'm with, or he slapped me.
If you slapped the person you're with and then he slapped you, can he still love you?
No. Love is willing to go to the other.
What if you have 5 children together?
Are you going to be with a woman who's going to slap you?
Hold on a second. What if you have 5 children together and that was a heat of the moment mistake, and then 1 year later you still have those children together, you're still building your life together, but you can't love that person anymore? That's ridiculous.
You can forgive that person if they never do it to you
so you can love them again.
No, I said forgive them.
Okay, and then you can love them.
So the love is gone?
You forgive them?
The love's just
gone? You forgive them, and then is the love gone?
I wouldn't have 5 children with a man who would
hypothetical. It's a hypothetical.
You would. So you're saying, so you're in a relationship, you have 5 children, you're married, you've been married, and he cheats one time, and you say that he doesn't love you after you birth all those 5 children, so you'll have a little house on Nantucket Island
and 5 children, and he did it one time. I wouldn't marry someone who would do that.
The hypothetical though, the hypothetical. It's not all about your perfect worldview. In a hypothetical scenario, if that were to happen, can the man still love the woman?
I don't believe so.
That's ridiculous.
You've been dating somebody. You've been dating somebody for 2.5 years. Has your boyfriend done anything wrong?
No.
Nothing.
Not
you've never even
thing.
argued.
No. You mean like slapping me? Sorry. Keep going.
No. You've never had an argument. You've never disagreed on something. He's never even said something that you took even a slight offense to. Nothing.
Of course I have. We have discussions all the time.
Okay.
But keep going. Are you going to equate that to slapping?
No, but it seems like you're saying, and look, I think none of us here are in favor of cheating or, if there's a DV
Obviously,
situation.
nobody's in favor of that.
Nobody's
it's a hypothetical question to say that if hypothetically that were to happen,
it's
a terrible thing to happen. Yes, I'm not saying it's not domestic violence. Nobody said it's not domestic violence. Hypothetically, could the love still exist?
I have a question on this. So, are you Catholic?
Yes, I am.
You're Catholic, so you don't believe in divorce, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so if using Jake's example, there's 5 kids, been married for 10 years, everything's been great. Somehow some super heated argument happens, and if the husband slapped the wife, divorce?
I know where you're going, and the answer is no, because I wouldn't marry someone who would do that.
That's...
No one's going to slap you.
Yeah, you never know.
If you're with somebody who would slap you, then you shouldn't be with them. You shouldn't marry them and have 5 kids.
Okay, but
you're talking from a utopian perspective.
But
engage with the hypothetical.
We're talking about individual people. You would choose somebody who would never do that.
Human beings are flawed. Human beings make mistakes.
But they're not.
Those things happen, and good people do that as well.
A mistake is maybe having a verbal discussion that gets heated, but it would never lead to a physical altercation. If it does,
do you think a good man has ever slapped his wife?
I don't believe so.
That's ridiculous.
Why?
People make bad mistakes all the time.
Means?
Nobody is perfect.
What do you think?
If you're religious,
good,
you know
good doesn't mean good at all hours of the day, every single day, never making a mistake. That's not good.
Well, I draw the line at physical altercations, so that's
just even a little pop.
But okay, would you?
No. Why are we arguing?
Where does the Bible say that you can divorce your husband if he slaps you?
Wait. Hold on. So it's a bit. It seems to me, and there's perhaps a specific fallacy for this, but you're saying that you would never marry somebody who would have the capacity to do that, but like you don't have, what's that fucking Minority Report thing when they could see into the future? What's that called? Premonition? Like you wouldn't
predestination.
Yeah, that's true.
Some fucking scenario. Maybe you like I don't know. Again, we're not. You shouldn't be hitting anybody. But if it did happen,
sure. I understand what you're saying.
But you keep saying like, well, I would never marry somebody who did that. But engage with the actual conversation.
Okay, fine.
So would you divorce if?
No, I wouldn't divorce.
If there was a slap?
No, of course not.
But
so you would stay with someone that doesn't love you?
That doesn't mean that I have to divorce them.
Fair enough. Okay, so then. But so you wouldn't divorce under those circumstances?
Under no circumstances.
In that circumstance, I would keep it up for the kids.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not worth it.
But do you think, okay, so you wouldn't divorce, although isn't divorce, you can divorce in the case of...
It's annulment. You can get it annulled if there's domestic violence, which is completely my position.
So would you get an annulment?
Yeah, because this all comes back to the fact that you say you can be a good man and slap your wife. Like that it's a mistake, but you can still be a good man. My view is that if you have domestic violence inside your relationship, in my view, where I'm Catholic and I don't believe in divorce, then you're going against the vows that you said when we got married. And
so you're saying that you have to be perfect in marriage, otherwise you can't be a good man.
Not slapping your wife doesn't mean
the vows there's more vows than that.
Absolutely, but I'm saying domestic violence is a very it's like top. It's
okay, so if you think
it's
that
literally directly going against the vows.
If a man looks at a woman with lust, has he cheated on her?
Yes.
And can he be a good man?
If he repents of it, of course.
Okay, so that the love can still be there even if he goes against the vows.
I already said that domestic violence is a different tier than
But we're talking about it in terms of your vows, and we're talking about it on a biblical sense.
Yes.
So that's also a sin. Looking at someone with lust in your heart, you've already cheated. And
I think it also has to do with.
You're saying that's cheating.
It can be if you don't repent of it.
That's what the Bible says.
So then if you just go cheat, if your man just goes and cheats, repents, it's okay?
But if that's what the Bible says, if a man has committed adultery, then you're saying that's adultery.
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
So you're saying that he can't be a good man and that the love is gone after that.
I was talking about domestic violence when you asked me that. So I'm not gonna make it about other things.
Okay, but is he willing the good of that person in that situation?
No.
Okay.
Just because you're not willing the good of another person in these situations doesn't mean there's grounds for divorce. Like you're mixing up all the different issues.
Okay. So you're saying that domestic violence is in a different tier, and that there is no way that somebody can ever love somebody if they do that. No circumstance.
You still haven't defined love to me, so therefore you repeating the same sentence doesn't do anything for me.
I'll grant your definition.
Well,
willing the good of the other.
With the definition?
Yeah,
Otherwise your question.
No, I'll grant your definition. I agree with it. Yeah.
Okay.
So there is no situation where that could happen, where then the man could ever still love the woman, is what you're saying.
I personally don't think so, but
then again,
that's just where I'm coming from, and I can see. I think this is the kind of thing where this isn't some we were talking about earlier about abortion, where it's a moral black and white. I don't think this is some kind of moral black and white. I think other people can have different opinions on it.
But personally, didn't you say morality is black and white?
No, I'm saying this isn't one. That's what I'm saying.
But you said morality as a whole is black and white. This was
I'm saying that this isn't.
Just one question.
Correct.
Just one question.
Moral is black and white.
So but before we did say that you can't love your partner if you cheat on them after. We did have that conversation where you said that if a man commits adultery, then he can't love his partner after that.
I don't believe that he's willing the good of another person when he cheats.
Okay, so then would you agree with the Bible when the Bible says that if you look at a woman with lust, then you've committed adultery in your heart?
Yes.
So then you're saying that a man can't love a woman if he looks at another woman with lust?
Yes.
That's ridiculous.
Why? You just agreed that
because we don't live in a perfect world, and men make mistakes, and men do that all the time.
It's standard, though. The point is, I'm speaking from having a standard where we're talking about someone who doesn't think cheating's wrong, and so I'm saying that it's actually wrong.
We're gonna switch gears here. One to finish off on this really quick. Do you think that? I asked you, okay, so annulment would be warranted under the circumstances. If a woman slapped her husband, would annulment be warranted also?
Yes, they're two people. Okay.
All right.
Either or.
I just want to make sure that you had the same standard for both
Absolutely.
Men and women. And I don't think anybody here is in favor of domestic violence or anything.
It was hypothetical.
We're just talking hypothetical.
For sure.
I was like, oh God, am I going to get clipped? Is Jake going to get clipped? All right.